The first bit of weathering I want to do is these oil brushes, right? These are really sort of cool. These are by Ammo. It's in this really sort of nice pot. Hopefully you can see there, you open it up and you've got a little brush on the end, and basically these are oil paints. Now the cool thing about oil paints is they take a long time to dry, and you can really sort of feather them, make cool effects like what we're going to do just here on our warp nacelle. Now this decal is just plain red, but if you look at you know, sort of the show and everything, you'll see that it's almost like some sort of fiery plasma thing going on in there, and it looks kind of cool. What we're going to do to represent this and sort of liven this up a bit. Now this is a light touch, right? A lot of this weathering we're going to be doing is going to be sort of light touches where you don't quite sort of notice it so much. You want to keep it light. You don't want it to be too in your face. But what we're going to do is nicely with the brush, we can just dab on here a little bit just on there like so. Doesn't look all that sort of fiery at the moment, but if we come along and we get out some of this is basically some odorless turpentine. When it comes to stuff like oils and enamels and stuff, don't go off to your hardware store and sort of buy turpentine or something like that, because they're normally a little bit too strong and they can eat into your paint. But buying the actual manufactured sort of proper stuff that you use for scale modeling is normally sort of formulated better for the hobby. So just getting my paintbrush, and I'm just gonna get a little bit of this just on the end of my paintbrush, right? And what this will do, this will sort of thin it down, right? So if I sort of now just dab at it like so, as you can see, it's starting to sort of thin it down, spread it out, feather it in, almost like a spray job, right? And you'll probably sort of move it about a bit, and it still looks a little bit maybe too strong. It's probably looking okay for you on camera from what I can see, but I'm just sort of getting a kitchen paper towel, getting the excess off my paintbrush, getting a little bit more on the end of my brush, clean thinners, right? And I'm going to dab at it again. I'm trying to sort of keep it to the middle as well, right? I don't want it to go to the edges. And as you can see, as we sort of like clean our paintbrush, add a bit more clean thinners, it sort of thins it down even more, and hopefully you can sort of see, I don't know how well it is on camera, but trust me, with the naked eye we get this sort of almost like a bit of a fieriness going on to it. So I'm just going to clean my paintbrush, and what I'm happy with that now, but I am seeing that it is sort of pooling up in this little corner just here. So with my paintbrush cleaned on a kitchen paper towel, you know, it's not wet or moist or anything, it's just nice and clean. I can just basically suck up any sort of little runs like that, right? So I don't want it there, so I'm just sucking that up like so. Hopefully you're sort of picking that up on camera a little bit, but we end up with this sort of a bit of a fieriness to it. Again, it's just a light little touch to it, right? And by using yellow, because we've got such a red background, it actually almost comes out sort of like an orange. Hopefully I'm sort of seeing. I have done it over here. You know, I'm not sure if it's coming up on camera, but it gives us a little bit more of a sort of a fiery sort of look to it. It doesn't look so red, right? And it just improves it like that. The next thing is our phasers. Now with our phasers, I'm going to be using these panel line washes. Now this is a deep grey, which is by Ammo, and it is 1602. Right, these panel line washes are really cool for scale modelling, doing panel line washes, but I'm going to be using this as a actual wash for our phasers. So as I mentioned before, I mean, here we have a nice little phaser bank just here, which I've had to paint because the decal's cracked. But when I add this wash, what already, I mean, it's a good colour match, so you can't really see the cracks anyway, but by adding this wash, right, what we'll do is we'll end up, you know, feathering in any sort of cracks or any sort of, you know, not quite matched up paint or something like that, and you won't even notice the problems we've had with these decals. But what it'll also do is it'll go into any nooks, crannies or recesses and actually sort of show these phases off a little bit. Right, now you don't have to worry about being absolutely perfect with this, right, because, you know, the same with the oil paints, you know, because it takes such a long time to dry, we can play with it. So again, we can sort of clean off our paintbrush, we can get out some odorless turpentine. You can probably see that little bit of a mistake just in the corner there, just getting out some old odorless turpentine, right, and we can take any sort of mistakes and just sort of clean them up like so. Even if this had dried, we can sort of clean it up. It's probably easier if you just let it dry actually for like maybe half an hour and then clean it up. But yeah, we can just clean that up, suck it up, and that'll just give us a nice little bit of, you know, showing off the phaser arrays, which, as I've already sort of done along here, was showing off the phaser arrays. It's sort of like that wash goes in there and shows out some shadows and all that kind of stuff. Right, and that kind of brings our phasers to life that little bit more, hopefully, as you can see. By the way, as well, same technique with the impulse engines as what I used on our warp nacelles, giving that little bit of a fiery sort of look to it as well. But also, while we're on the same colour, we've got windows as well. Right, I'm just going to put that back on there. I'm going to show off some windows just here, and what we can simply do here is use this as a pin wash, because I mean this is actually supposed to be a pin wash, and what we basically do is, we'll get this out again, just getting our paintbrush, and what we'll do is a little bit on the end of our paintbrush, and we'll find some windows, and what you do is you just touch the window like a pin. That's why we call it a pin wash. Touch the window, and hopefully, as you can see, it flows nicely in those windows. I mean, I could literally actually sort of almost brush right across and fill in the windows, because there is a cleanup stage to this. Alright, so don't worry about making mistakes. Remember to leave a couple to be white as well. Now also, we want to talk about the scale effect as well, while I just get out some white. Remember, with this, I'd probably like say use black. In this case, I've gone for like a really sort of dark grey, as you can see, a deep grey just here, instead of going for black, because what we've got to think about when doing this is, again, because it's so scaled down, and because it's, you know, 1 in, I forgot what it was again, 1 in 1,200 or something, or was it 2,500, I forgot, but because it's so scaled down, if we go off and we take all the recessed panel lines, recessed rivets and all this kind of stuff, and we're using really dark colours, it's really going to bring out detail, probably bring it out way too much, and make a starship like this look like a, say, a fighter, right? So we want to sort of bring down the colours so we don't bring too much detail to the foreground and make it look like a fighter. So as you say, and you'll see this throughout when I do stuff, I'm going to be going for lighter colours, right? So instead of black, I've gone for a dark grey. The white, I don't actually have a wash for white, but I do have, again, using these oil brushes here, I do have a white for this. Right, so I'm going to be using this time. I'm going to have to get out a palette, because we do need to thin it a little bit, because these oils are a little bit on the thick side. So just a bit on a palette just here. Right, getting out the paintbrush and our odorless turpentine. Right, we're going to mix this maybe to a nice sort of thin consistency, you know, maybe 50-50 or something, and then where we want our, you know, white lights, as in to indicate that the lights are on, again we do the same panel line wash just here. Right, again, don't worry about those mistakes. There we go, because there is a nice cool little clean up stage to this. let's just get these as well. I'm trying to pin it. The white one's a bit more runnier, so it's kind of just going everywhere a little bit. But again, we'll just leave that to dry.